Hello everyone, I'm going to be teaching you how to use After Effects, and I'll also teach you the key features which you can use to create intros like this. Starts off, once you've opened After Effects, you're going to want to click on Composition, then New Composition. It'll give you a composition name and you can name it anything you want. Standard video sizes. The standard video size should be 720 by 480, and the duration here, I'm just going to keep it as 5 seconds. So click on OK. First of all, I'm going to be using text tools. These tools up here are the ones that you're going to have to mostly need, and also these ones up here as well. Well, first of all, I'm going to use text tool to type in After Effects. Now, what I've done when I've created this text, I've also created a new layer within this timeline, and basically if I set that, it selects the one in the video as well. And what I can do is by using the selection tool, I can click and drag and change the size. What I can also do is hold Control then D and also duplicate it. Duplicating is basically copy and pasting, but yeah, it's just a lot faster doing it that way. Okay, so now I've duplicated it. You can't see the duplicate, that's because it's on top of it. So all I'm going to do is just drag it down and change it into the basics. I'm going to resize it a bit. Well, if you want to become more precise with your resizing, you can always use this on the side, just like drag about or whatever. What I've done with these texts, you can also change the fonts. Here, right now I've used Tunga, and you can't see it. I've also given it an outline, and I can show you that by changing the background color into a different one. I'm just going to put it as some dark red, and there you have it. There's the outlines. Okay, I've done that by giving it a stroke color. Just double click on it and choose the color you want. And to use the strokes, you just need to put the stroke as 1 pixels, or if you want to thicker. Okay, it's fail. You need to double click. Yeah, that's it. Okay, now I've created my text. What I can do is also change the color of it if I wanted to. I already told you that. And I can also play about with the styles, the text styles that After Effects offers. So if I want it bold, no difference. Yeah, that's more like it. If I want it bold, still no difference. It just looks a bit bigger. But what I've done to create something like this, I've just clicked on the italics and given it small caps, where the lower cases have become capitals as well. And now, what you can also do on After Effects is importing images or any other videos that you want to put into your video. And to do that, you can click on File, Import, then File, or multiple files if you want to select more than one. I'm just going to import my logo. Just click on File and Logo. Logo, I made it on Photoshop, as you can see, and just click on it, Open, and it's going to ask for the merge layers or choose the layers. Basically, because it's made in Photoshop, you use layers to create the image, and what I want is the whole image. I'm just going to choose merge layers. So okay, and I've already got both of them here, but you can just click and drag it down into your timeline. Timeline is basically your video, and it just shows you the layers within the timeline. So I'm going to resize this. That looks good. And yeah, there you have it. Now here I have my title. And to make this a bit more neater within the timeline, I can pre-compose it, basically grouping it to make it a lot easier to manage everything else that I'm going to put in later. So what I'm going to do is just select, hold shift and select the bottom one. It's highlighted everything, or if you don't want to do that, you can just click and drag over the whole thing. Now what I'm going to do is go onto layer, then pre-compose. Pre-composing is basically just grouping everything, and yeah, I want to move all attributes into new composition, which means just move everything into here. So I'm going to click on OK, and now what I've done now is made a composition, or groups it. Right now, in order to edit stuff inside of it, all I need to do is just double click and I've got all three layers to edit. Okay, I can come back out of this composition by selecting intro, and I'm back out here. Now what we need here is that maybe a background. The background looks yeah, background would do well with this. So I'm going to select a layer, new and solid. Gonna call it background. This is basically the same sizes as my whole video, and I'm gonna give it maybe a red color. Yeah, same red color. Okay, once I put the layers in, or the layer in, you can't see my title anymore. That's because in the timeline, the background layer is on top of the title layer. As you can see, 1 then 2. 1 is the front one, 2 is the bottom one. So I can just click and drag under the title, and there you have it. Now with my background, what I want to do is I want to put a gradient in it. So maybe a dark red going out into maybe a lighter red bit, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, to do this, just select my solid, click on effects, and here you have a whole load of effects that you can play about with. Let's generate or whatever. Let's say I want to make, sorry, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here, but I need to show this. But yeah, let's say I want to make my logo glow a bit. I can just select effects and maybe go on stylize and select glow. What it's done is given this weird glow to it, which obviously doesn't work, but that's the whole point of this effect. You can just play around, see if it works well. If it doesn't, then just take it out by selecting the effect in this effect controls, or you can just select this FX, which just hides the effects, but it's better if you delete it. Now back to where was I? Yeah, okay, back into my intro. We're going to change the background and give it an effect, and we're going to give it a gradient. So on generate and then ramp, it's basically giving it a gradient, and I don't want this kind of ramp. It's a linear ramp, man. Yeah, I'm kind of getting mixed up with gradients and ramps now. Gramps, what? Anyway, I'm not going to give it a linear ramp. Select, give it a radial, so now it's like a ball, and the start of the ramp is here, which is the black start of color, black, and I'm just going to give it a Y coordinate, and I'm just going to drag it down to the center. And now I want to change the black into a red, so I'm just going to change the start color, double click, and do that. Okay, change the end color as well, and give it an effect like this. Looks cool. Okay, now I've given it a background and title. I want to make something, I want to add something to this intro to make it a lot better. So I'm going to add a new layer, solid, and I'm going to call this particles. Okay, And now what I'm going to do with particles is that I'm going to add particles to it. And particles is basically one of the most probably like useful effects you can use if you want to use it to create rain, like magical sparkles or snow. It's up to you. I've already typed it in. All you have to do is select effects and presets here and just type in CC particles or just type in particles. And what I want to do is select this one, CC particle world, select and drag on top of this new solid that we've made. Whoops. And I've seen to have dropped it in, which was good as well. So now this solid has got the effects particle world on it, and what that has done has got rid of all that color and just applied the effects. And now what we can do, if we move along the timeline, which is this here, we can hold and move it along. Basically here, let's say this 1F is basically 1 second. So 1 second into the video, particles are sprouted out or exploded or whatever. And right now I don't want that. I want to give it a nice bubbly look. So I'm going to get rid of the floor, which kind of distracts me, and decrease the birth rate down. If it's really hard to get like the precise values by dragging the numbers along, you can always just select it and just type it in. So I'm just gonna have 0.5. Okay, wrong, 0.5. And now the birth rate, which is how many particles are born per second, is a lot less than before. Longevity is how long the particles last for, like each particle. And yeah, I'm just going to keep it for a second. Producer is just basically the point where all the particles sprout out from. So it's this point. Okay, and I'm just going to change it. I'm going to change the radius more so it looks a bit more wide. Just going to stretch it with the radius as well. And now you think about it, it's starting to look like rain or some kind of volcanic eruption with the lava spitting out. But yeah, you can play around with this particles effect and just be imaginative. But what I'm going to do with this now is go into physics and change the animation to a 12. Basically, these animations are just telling how the particles to move. So the particles here are just moving randomly. See, vortex, it's just, I don't know. But yeah, these are really crazy animations that you should try out. So I'm going to go back to 12. And velocity is just the speed. It gives the particles movement. I'm just going to give it no movement at all. And as you can see, there still is movement. That's because there's gravity in this. So we have gravity at 0.5, and it's just making the particles fall down in a line, just down. And what's cool about this, you can, as you can see, it looks like rain, only we need to make it blue. But yeah, you can just try out many effects of this, maybe snow or rain, it's up to you. Now I'm going to show you how to use the particles and change the line into different shapes. You can just select particle type, just change it to stars. Ooh, twinkly. So there, it's just twinkling about and falling down. Or you can have, I don't know, whatever this is, confetti. But what I'm going to have is have the bubbles. I wanted that bubbly effects, and we just see it appearing and falling down. And what I want to do is actually not make it fall down. So I'm just going to decrease gravity. Actually no, I'm just going to give it 0, so it just stays in one place. And now because of that, it's just gonna be like this, which is quite a cool effect. Okay, now I'm going back to particles, and I'm going to vary the sizes. So, well, the sizes of each particle. So, birth size, when it's born, what size is it? So, make it a bit larger. When it dies or fades away, what size will it end up as? So, I might have the same as well. So now we have these, which is quite cool. Actually no, I might make it a bit small. So I have it big and it goes small. Quite cool. And size variation is just a variation, self-explanatory. And yeah, you can change the birth color, which is this yellow right now. The outer ring, death color, this color, it's in the middle, if you wanted to. So yeah, but I'm going to keep it because it looks, the colour goes well with the red and the dark reds, so I'm just going to keep it. And now what we want to do is give it a bit more motion to it. So what we're going to do is add a camera into the video, which is basically the viewing, how we're going to view this intro. So what I'm going to do is add a layer, new, camera, and here comes the camera settings. Well, right now it's best to have 50mm, just gonna call it camera 1, and now we have a camera in the video. Can't see it, that's because our camera is what we're viewing right now. I don't know if you understand, but yeah, you understand it in a minute. And in order to use the camera, we need to turn our layers into 3D as well. So now we can adjust everything in a 3D space within the video. So I'm going to change the title into 3D. Selecting this box where there's a cube means you've made it into a 3D layer. And I'm just going to have it like that. Maybe like that as well. And I'm not going to set the particles because it's just an effect, and there's the cube up here, meaning it's a 3D effect, so I don't need to have it 3D. And now if you select this unified camera tool, you can move about. And what I just realized is that I shouldn't have had this 3D, so I'm just going to leave it. That's a lot better. And basically we are viewing through this camera that we have made, and by using the camera tool we are just adjusting its position. So let's say I wanted it from the bottom, I can make it come up. And if you have accidentally made some weird position like this and you can't get it back to normal position, you can always just click on this triangle and then this arrow, transform, and just reset, and it resets it back. And now one of the main things about After Effects is keying your motions, and what that does is basically it keyframes a point, let's say a position. So by clicking this stopwatch, I've keyed the position of the camera, which is this view right now, and I've keyed it at the very start of the movie. So at the very start it's like this, and then what I can do now is move forward into the timeline, say 1 second forward. I can change the position. So now what I've told After Effects to do is, okay, at 0 seconds at the start, I want it to be like this. But now, 1 second forward, I want it to be at this position. So now I've created my own motion. And if you don't want it going like this, you can easily drag around these keyings and just swap it around. So there you have it. I'll have this at 1 second. So there you have it. And what you can also do to these keys is add special motion to it. So if you type in, well, if you select, right click, keyframe assistant, you can have an easy ease out. So as it approaches this keyframe, the motion slows down, so it eases out of the motion and into this position, which is quite a cool effect. So I'm going to do the same and make an easy in, and there you have it. Well, and also easy ease is just easy in and easy out, which is just both of them together. And there you have it, your own simple intro, which, well, I hope you have learnt something from this tutorial, and I hope you can also make your own intros and have fun and with experimenting all these effects.